Hey legends, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Dan, and next to me we have the 2024 Mazda MX-5 RF GT-RS. Of course, being the RF, we have the retractable fastback roof. Being the GT, it sits at the top of the list, and being the RS, it comes with a few more goodies just to make this car the ultimate MX-5, and as a result, the most expensive as well. Mazda have decked out the GT-RS with the 17-inch BBS forged alloys, some Bilstein suspension, and a strut brace in the engine bay to help with a bit of that rigidity.
This tightens up an already very capable Roadster for some track day fun or for that weekend blast, starting from 61,155 drive away compared to the soft tops 56,430.
The styling hasn't changed in a number of years, but I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. The fourth generation MX-5 is still a very good looking car. It's very squat and it just wraps around the occupants, making it feel quite like a go-kart when you go for a drive. We still have the 2-litre 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine under the bonnet, producing 135 kilowatts and 205 newton meters of torque. Of course, sending all that power to the rear wheels. We also have some 4-piston Brembo brakes at the front. With the GT-RS, the RF comes in at 1,101 kilos. That's slightly heavier than the 1,035 kilos of the Roadster version, but it's a small sacrifice to pay for that hardtop roof. The only other compromise you make with the RF is that the boot space is only 127 litres compared to 130 litres in those that have the canvas roof. It's quite a small but deep boot, but can still carry a couple of mini suitcases for that weekend away. The key thing about the MX-5 is indeed how it drives, and since we're in an RF, surely we've got to put the roof down. Now inside is actually quite a comfortable place, surprisingly, and at 182 centimeters tall, I fit in here really well, really comfortably. We just quickly go through the interior. We have these inner door trims that match the exterior paint, and that's been a big talking point of this car, that everyone who's seen it has commented on the zircon sand paint color. Wouldn't have been my first choice, I'll admit, but certainly got everyone's attention. And here we have a nice small-ish steering wheel. It's not too thick. We have combined digital and analog gauges, but that's fine. You have to tell your speed the old-fashioned way through the dials. We have a new 8.8-inch widescreen display, and with your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, it is wirelessly connected. Of course, this car comes equipped with the beautiful 6-speed manual transmission. It is a joy to use. Have it's lovely handbrake here. It looks kind of big, but it gets out of the way really easily. Talking about things that get in the way, I have occasionally bumped the little My Drive wheel navigator here. It's not too big a deal, but just notice that. You have these nice round dials for your air conditioning and your controls, and round air conditioning vents, except this one in the middle, which kind of represents the rear tail light in how it's been set out. So you have your switch for your roof. It's up to retract it and down to put it back. You do have heated and ventilated leather seats. They can only be adjusted forward and back, although they do have a few other little adjusters as well. 2 USB-C ports and a little display here that if I was in an older car I would think would be for an old tape deck, but that just displays whether or not your passengers have their seatbelts on, that sort of stuff. We have cup holders back here which can surprisingly hold a large bottle, and they don't want to tip too much, and you can also relocate the passenger cup holder down here. It just slots in and you can have your drink there instead. Small little cubby, really tiny cubby here for some coins and a couple of knickknacks, and this I suppose is your glove box, which has our driver's guide and a few other things. It is bare minimum in here, but I think that's kind of the point. So without any more on that, let's get driving and see if we can find some interesting roads to enjoy. So I was told by a friend of mine who also owns this generation MX-5 that the manual really loves to be revved out, and with about a 7,000 RPM redline, it's good to be able to have fun with that. In first and second gear, it can really get up and going, and I mean, the car doesn't weigh that much anyway, so it's not hard to imagine, but sitting so low to the ground, everything feels that bit more faster as well. The GT-RS is kind of marketed as a track-focused car, and yet in their warranty agreement, Mazda won't cover you for any track-related incidents. I don't quite know how that's going to work if you want to enjoy this car to its fullest. Now, we were able to take this car on a couple of drives during our time with it, and it certainly soaks up the mundane as well as the exciting really well. Here we're just on a normal rural road, I suppose, and it's actually quite comfortable. That adjusted suspension with the Bilstein shocks, it's still managing to soak it all up. My wife didn't complain about the comfort at all. So I think Mazda have tuned it quite well, even though this has been improved. We can't even complain about the compromises you make with the boot space or anything like that, because it purely isn't the focus of this car. And that's the one thing to remember, is that this car is designed for a purpose, and that purpose it does extremely well. One thing I do like about the MX-5 is that even though it is a small car, looking out over the front, the nose does feel quite long, but I do like how you can see the wheel arches and how they're sculpted out in front of you. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but once you're aware of just how wrapped around you this interior is, you really can become one with the car. And I know that sounds cliche. Even though this is much more driver focused, Mazda has still been able to throw some of the creature comforts and safety features at it. This does have blind spot monitoring in the mirrors, and that is a really good thing, because looking out my blind spot here, all I see is roof mechanism. It's not so bad looking out the passenger side. There is a bit more glass around, so that judging where your distances are when merging and things like that isn't so hard. Certainly to driver's side, you're going to need to really be sure that there's no one there. It also has things like rear cross traffic alert, cruise control and stuff like that, but the one thing I would possibly think this could have done with is radar cruise control. And I know it has cruise control, and to probably put radar cruise, they'd have to change the front and put a big sensor in it. It's just one thing that I kind of feels missing. It's not a deal breaker, but I really would have appreciated it maybe. It just feels like something that is kind of missing. But it's a really small point, and I can't hold the car back because of that. I think we've just been spoiled with the kind of technology we have these days. I do have a reverse camera too, which is also low to the ground when you look through it. Clarity is really good in there. It doesn't have active guides, but the guides are enough, and reverse sensors of course too. Coming into the mountains, let's see how this car goes in its element. It just gets on with the job, and you just want to shift through the gears, not skip any point, get it around, accelerate. It's glorious. It's not about going in a straight line fast, it's about getting around the bends with as much fun and the biggest smile on your face you can. Oh, it's flat. It is so flat. doesn't mind what gear you're in. Unlike a turbo car where you want to drop a gear to get all the juice out of the turbo, you can be in a higher gear and she's still just going to grip up and go. She's getting on with this. This is great. Brakes are good. Point, get it around. We've caught up to that unit. Oh, this is so much fun. And we can do it all again. Now, I did say that little phone cubby, well, yeah, sometimes your phone's going to fall out of it. And it's, I think because this is an older car, phones have grown in size, so they don't quite fit in there anymore. I should be paying attention. So, under harsh acceleration, your phone can launch itself out of the cubby purely because, well, phones have grown in size and they don't quite fit in those. They're quite a bit bigger than when Mazda made that cubby holder. Brakes are still good as we're coming down the hill, but we can... This car beckons you to take the long road home, and I've got to admit that I have done that. Our friend Dylan, who reviewed the soft top last year, you know, he said in his review that he had a bad day at work and he drove this home and he'd pretty much forgotten about it, and I could definitely see that that would happen. The other day I had a similar-ish thing. I was on my way home from work and there was typical Sydney traffic, so I took the long road home, and heck, it took longer, but it was a lot more fun, and I wasn't really whinging about the traffic anymore, I can tell you that. Whew, this thing is fun. It is a go-kart. Man, it just wants you to keep doing that over and over, and I reckon it will just keep on doing that over and over. Now, the pedals are really close together, which allows for a bit more heel and toe. Being a tall person, and if you've got large feet, you're going to kind of have to watch where your feet go, but again, it's once you get used to it, it's not too bad. And then the wonderful thing is that after you've had all your fun, or you know, you're just doing something a little bit more mundane, the car just quietens down, settles down, you can put the roof back up, and it just becomes a normal, well, a little bit more normal, just Roadster. And it's got that stuff that just, you know, makes it seem like a very civilized modern car. Not everything, but enough for the format. It even has adaptive LED lighting, which during our trip over the weekend was quite interesting to see, in that the car, well, at least with the lights in auto, went into high beam during low light situations, and you could see the lights changing as it detected oncoming headlights or that other vehicles were nearby. You can only hope or trust that the technology is doing what it's supposed to. We didn't get flashed or anything, so hopefully the Mazda engineers have sorted that to do as it's supposed to. But it was just interesting seeing the headlights changing. I guess I did find that because you sit that much lower, and with the prevalence of everybody buying an SUV, that at night with cars behind you, their headlights do get quite glary in your mirrors. It could just be the angle that we are at compared to something that large, so I did find that a bit annoying, especially even against new cars. So it's not like their headlights were adjusted incorrectly, it's just that that's how low we're sitting compared to everyone else, and that's just the side effect. So I think really we've covered what this car is all about, and it can do the other things as well. It's perfect for, obviously it's not perfect for someone with a family unless it's a second car, but for that weekend car, or you know, something to just go have a blast and have some fun in, this is up there. And I mean, it's popular and known for that, and I do think that it's kind of been said that to fully understand the MX-5 you've got to drive one, and now having that opportunity, I fully understand. If the smile doesn't give it away, you know. And there are people who will say, and even people who've reviewed the MX-5 and say, you know, they want to throw more power at it, put a turbo on the engine. Sure, you can go do that, but I don't think Mazda need to do that. The car that they provided is a great base. It does what it should do extremely well. And I mean, look, you can throw more power at anything and you can probably have more fun, but the way this car is dialed in out of the box, I would say for most people, 9 out of 10, it's going to be more than enough. And really, anyone who's going to be buying the GT RS in either soft top or the RF, they know what they're getting. Someone who doesn't want to spend any more, just wants the car as is, and that's it, and they'll leave it this way because it doesn't need to be tinkered with. Now, Mazda, you've done a really good job here. Now, in looking after the car, Mazda obviously back their cars with a 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty. Your service intervals with this are annually or every 15,000 Ks, and it takes, at least by the manual, it was telling me it will take 95 RON on premium unleaded. So it sips the fuel really well, actually. I think the claimed number is about 6.9, and I've been seeing 7s. So that's really not bad considering the way we were just driving up and down that mountain. So he's good on fuel too. Now, I think, as I mentioned, the colour has been a talking point for everyone who's seen the car. Would not have been my first choice, that's for sure, but I do think that sometimes the companies like to get their more obscure colours out there just to show them off. And it is an interesting shade. People have kind of commented it's a bit of a desert sandy kind of thing. It is called zircon sand, so that's not really surprising. But it's also kind of khaki depending how the light hits it. One commented that it was almost like a beige sandy version of Nardo Grey, the famous and popular Audi colour. And I can kind of see that too. It's just interesting that it did end up matching with my outfit for the day as well. Now, of course, there are the trademark colours of that beautiful metallic red that Mazda do. There's also blacks and dark blues. Some of them come at a bit of a premium. You'll be paying about $795 for the option colours, and zircon sand is one of those. But surprisingly, there is no green. I would have thought a British racing green or something similar to that might have worked really well on this kind of Roadster, but no, there's no green shade at all. In the lower grades, you can also get different wheel styles, obviously, as it's only the RS that comes with the black BBS rims. They're quite a nice style, though. They're very typical of the brand for BBS, and I'd say my 6.5-year-old daughter quite likes them too, so there you go. Even though this is a manual gearbox, the part of the display does give you suggestions as to which gear you should be in, and otherwise it just tells you what gear you are in. So some handy little features there as well. And another thing I've got to say is that paired with this 8.8-inch display is a really, really good 9-speaker Bose premium sound system. I don't know how they do it, but Mazda's Bose systems have been really good when I've tried them out. But in this car, for a 2-seater, and maybe it's the speakers in the headrests, but this sound system just sounds amazing. Even with everything standardized, neutral in the middle, the amount of bass that it can pick up in certain songs, the treble and everything, it's an audiophile's feast, I've got to say. And add that to the engine sound, I mean, you're in for a treat. It's one or the other, right? I mean, I'm not sure that people buy this sort of car for the radio system or the stereo, but it's a good one. It just adds more to that experience. So when you are being sensible and you don't want that visceral driving experience, you can just play your music or your podcast or whatever and, just enjoy it. As I said, the handbrake does look quite big, but when it comes to ergonomics, it's situated really well just for ease of getting to it. I do wonder how left-hand drive users would go, because it's not moved, it's located in the same spot. So look, I think I've talked enough. I hope I've covered enough about what this car is about. I think everyone's got to be able to have a go in an MX-5 at some point to truly appreciate what they're all about. And having had that opportunity, like I said, I really get it now. So with a big smile on my face and gratitude, a big thank you, one, to all of you for watching. And I'm guessing you've subscribed and you want to see more. We have recently passed 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so a big thank you for that. And let's just keep pushing. Tell your friends about us. And, stay tuned for more reviews as they come. A big thanks to Mazda for making such a great car and for letting me have a play with it over the last few days. And of course, a big thanks to Exhaust Notes Australia for the opportunity. Got this car for a little bit longer and I'm going to enjoy every moment with it. So again, thank you for watching. I hope it was informative. Sound off in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.